Ooh, that looks tasty. Tick-tock on the clock. But the party don't stop. No. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh, whoa, whoa, oh. Don't stop. Make it pop. DJ, blow my speakers up. Tonight, I'm a fight till we see the sunlight. Tick-tock on the clock. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we are talking about Pendulum, designed by Travis Jones with art by Robert Leask and published by Stonemaier Games. Now, before I get going, please make sure you turn on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make any rules errors in the brief rules description, that's where you'll find the corrections. And so what Pendulum is it is a worker placement game that has a time element. And by time element, I mean it has a mechanic where after you place your workers out, it will be a certain amount of time before you're able to collect the benefit of the worker space that they're on, and it will also be a certain amount of time before you get them back. And the game can be played both in a real-time mode using sand timers here, or in the way that I'll be talking about in the non-real-time mode, which uses this track, but you still move the timers back and forth. And ostensibly the game takes place in this fantasy land where the timeless king has died, and all of the players are playing different potential new kings that may want to take over at the end of the game. And that's really what you're working for. And you can see I have all of them going different directions, which is just awesome. Good job in setting up my review here. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played, just want to jump into my final thoughts, and you're going to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game works. First, I'll say that I have this game set up as a two-player game, and the important thing for the two-player game is, one, you use this side of the board, the other side of the board is a little bit different, and you're going to put a single meeple of an unused color in all of the small spaces here, and that'll make sense in just a minute, and they're just going to stay there the whole game. It does not matter if you use the big ones or the small ones. And so the game is going to be played over 4 different rounds. One round is going all the way through this track here, or if you're playing in the real time, when this timer here has flipped 3 times. And that'll kind of make sense as we go through. And in order to win the game, you're going to be advancing your token up these 4 different tracks here on your player board. And I'll say that each player board is slightly different as far as that goes, and has some other asymmetrical bits about them as well. But what's going to happen is, through your worker placement, you're slowly going to be advancing these up the board. I'll say that you cannot win the game unless you have accomplished this one right here, which is the legendary objective. If you don't do that, you simply cannot win. Beyond that, the goal is you're trying to get all of these as far up these tracks as you can. If only one player gets all 4 of their tokens into this spot over here, they are the winner. If everyone gets all 4 into this spot, you're going to look at who got the furthest on them, and if no one got all 4 into the spot over here, you're going to look at everyone's furthest back token, and whoever is the closest with their furthest back token will be the winner. Now, the actual gameplay itself is actually super simple. This is the simplest of worker placement games. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking your workers and putting them out onto the board. Now, you'll notice that we have these timers out here, and you can never place or pick up a worker somewhere where there is a timer. But just because of the way my camera angle is, I'm just going to move this one out of the way for the moment. And that's it. If there's no timer there, you can place a worker, or you can pick it up as much as you want, and you can move them around. I'll point out that right here, there are a bunch of little meeples on there. That means any meeple can go there. There are no rules. Put as many there as you would like. Otherwise, if there's already a meeple in a space, you have to use your grande worker, your big dude. He's tough, and he can say, out of my way, I'm doing this too. Then you can place them in any spot that already has a meeple. Otherwise, if it's just a blank, then you can place your meeple there. It can be a big one or a small one. It's as simple as that. Then, once the timer moves to the space that you are on, you can activate those workers, which means you move them down, you pay any cost that's there, and you get the bonus that is down here. In this case, this would be your red goes up by 1, your military goes up by 1, and you get 2 votes. This one here, you pay 2, and your economy, I believe, goes up by 2. And then there are some that are like these here, and those correlate to this spot here on your player board, and each player board's different. In this case, Drinkir the Tyrant would get 4 red tokens, which would go right here, so 4 military power would go right there. And I'll talk a little more about those in just a moment. And then, once that's happened, they are stuck there. Once you have activated all of them, paid the cost, they are stuck until the timers move again. When the timers move again, then you can pick them up and replace them wherever it is you want to put them. And that's going to be managed by either the actual timers. When the timer runs out, it can be flipped, or through this here. If you're using this over here, which is how I played, then what's going to happen is once everyone has placed all of their meeples and done everything they want to do, you move the little timepiece down and you flip all the colors that it says flip. So in this case, all 3 would flip here. The next turn, only the black one would move. The next one, only the black one would move. Then only the green would move, and you get the idea. Now, in addition to that, you'll notice that there are these little cards over here. These are territories. And one of the things that your workers are going to be doing, and here's an example of where you can do it right here, is you're going to be conquering territories as you try to take over the land. And so as you do that, you will be able to collect these and take them and rotate them in any direction you want, and then slide them under your player board, which will then make the actions that you can take when you get one of these actions, like right here, which activates the red tile. I just put this under the purple, so for the easier example, I'll rotate that around so it's red. And now, if I have this, every time Drinkcare here does the red action, they would get 6 military power instead of just 4. And there's a whole variety of different things that you can get there, which gives you different bonuses. So every time you activate one, you get more and more stuff. I will say that you can only, at the end of a round, have 2 of these underneath, so you're only doing 3 things, though during the round, you can have as many as you want, though you will have to discard back down to 2. The only other thing that I really need to point out is this big ol' honkin' star. This big ol' honkin' star represents that legendary objective I said that you have to do. Each round, there will be a new way to accomplish it. And it says right up here, what you need in this case for the elite troops, you need 6 military power, 2 culture, and 3 votes. If you've done that, and you are the first person to do that, you can place your token out there, and you can take that star, and you have accomplished your objective. And everyone else is going to have to wait till the next turn when a new card flips out. If you accomplish it after the fact, or you already have your secret objective, your legendary objective, then you can get the bonus down here at the bottom, which in this case would be 2 gold, 2 culture, and 2 military power. Additionally, I will quickly point out that each player board comes with a set of stratagem cards, and what these cards are abilities that you can use at any time that you want. They all give you bonuses. Every single character has a different set, and this is how you're going to get yourself more meeples, so you have more actions you're able to take, and boost your score, and so on, and so on, and so on, and you're able to get these back after you've used them by paying a certain amount of culture. It's a worker placement Euro-style game, so you get the idea of how that works. Now, after you've gone through the whole round, you have a council phase. And the council phase is very simple. I mentioned you can get votes, and those are here. And in the 2-player game, there's always a 3rd player out there who is 1, obnoxiously blocking spaces, and 2, has 3 votes at the end for the council. Whoever has the most votes, they'll get to gain 2 points on their tracks. Any combination of those 3, second place gets 1 point, and third place gets none. But what does happen is the person in first place gets first crack at these things on the council board. And some of these are always here, like this. You can just get a point. This one here, you can flip this over, and then you get to upgrade one of your small meeples to your second grande worker. The ones that have the lightning bolts are just bonuses you get immediately, while these others here are new stratagem cards that will come into your hand you can use over and over again. And these are going to change every single round. So you'll see 15 new ones every single round, and then the last round, they're always the same. They're always ways to boost your score at the last minute. And so that's it. That's how this game works. So what do I like about the game? So first off, I'll start with, I actually like the way the game looks. I like the board. Some people have said that, oh, it's not bright enough, but I actually like the aesthetics of this game. I like these boards. I think they look cool. Overall, I do like the aesthetics, even down to, I like this kind of parchment looking over here, like the pencil drawn map. You flip it over, you got the color. I like all of that. though I will talk a little more about that later. I also like the way these stratagem cards work. It is such an easy way to make your characters more asynchronous than the others, and I also appreciate that they all have different amounts of each of the different tracks they have to move up. That makes it a little bit different. So every time you're playing, it's different. I like that their abilities on the bottom of their board are different. I really do like that. I think they have done a good job of making this game lightly asynchronous, that pretty much anybody can pick up and it's not going to be a challenge. Or you can play the other side and just be completely synchronous and it still works just fine. I also appreciate these cards here. I like that you have a little bonus up there that it will be changing every single round. So again, it's another reason to alter your engine, change what it is that you're trying to do. And I appreciate that as well. And I think what I appreciate the most about the game is the engine building. I really do like that you're going through and you're able to build up your yellow and your purple and red and brown abilities, and you're able to use them and kind of create them and turn them into what it is that you want them to do. This is probably my favorite part of the game. I think it's very, very clever the way it works, that you just get one and then you pick which one you think is the best in that moment. That's very clever. I enjoy that. And I also like the main conceit of the game, and that is you can use your workers, you put them out, but the more powerful the space is, the longer you're going to be without them, the harder it is to actually get it out. And I think that is a neat mechanic. I like the idea of it, and it definitely does make the game feel different from most other worker placement games that I've played. Now, what are my quibbles with the game? And I'll start out with some of the art decisions. And I've already praised that I actually legitimately like the art, and I do like the art, but I do think that there is a little bit of a problem. And that has to do with some of the color choices, because if we look here, we have this purpley blue, and this purple, and that purple, and then we have this purpley blue here that is different from all three of those purpley blues, and this purpley blue is different from that one, and it just, if you're playing a game that has to be done quickly, it can be hard to figure out what it is that is going on and what matches up with there. And that doesn't even count. You got another purple with the purple of this timer, and then this brown almost just kind of disappears. So I do have some issues with the color there. I just feel like it's a little bit of a miss, and it can make the game a little hard to follow. I also think, even though I like this art, these guys here, they're fine, but they're a little bit boring. I wish what was behind there was a little more exciting. It made me want to look at it. But my main quibble with the game is with the way the timers work. And again, my focus was on playing it in the non-real-time way, but at the same time, you still get some of the feeling going through this, I'll call it turn-based mode. It just feels like you're doing a lot of waiting. And at the end of the day, there's times where you know that you need to go for a green or go for a purple. And so that means you're going to do it, and you're going to be without one of your meeples for a while. And at the beginning of the game, we only have two, which means either you have to go down the track of getting your other two meeples as fast as you possibly can, or you're going to have times where you are literally sitting there doing nothing and just waiting for something to happen. And that can feel frustrating at the same, and that kind of dovetails into, at the beginning of the game, you do feel like you can't do anything. It takes a while to get that engine going, and you can feel like you're really under great time stress because you're only going to play through 4 rounds, even though if you look here, if you have between 2 and 4 meeples, all those different things, though, it's a lot more rounds than it looks like, but it can feel like there's more of a time crunch going on. And in my limited experience with the solo game and the timers, you definitely early on in the game have times where you are literally waiting for the time to run out. And so I just think it's a little bit of a miss as far as that goes. And I appreciate the timers, because one of the things I like about some Euro games with timers is, and I think of Sorcerer City, it comes to mind, is it makes you make a decision you have to go. But there's so many decisions here you're making, you really want to have a little time to stop and think. Then, of course, on the other end of it, if you don't have the timers and you play in this mode, you can sit there and stare at the board forever. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. And so while the timers and the not being able to get your workers back, while I like that in theory, to me, it didn't quite work as well as I would have liked it to. And then the last thing that is equivalent for me is you got to look really hard to get the theme in this game. Especially if you're playing real time, I just don't think the theme is realized. Yes, if you stop and you think about it, these things here, well, these are actually territories. So I'm conquering a territory. And by conquering or whatever that territory, I'm going to be able to get more bonuses. So I've conquered this territory. It's got all this military power on it. So this is obviously a military heavy territory that I've conquered. So I put it here. And then when I do a thing, I call in that region or that whatever. They're going to send me money and they're going to send me troops and all of that. And okay, so yes, that makes sense. But you have to really look for it. When it comes down to it, unless you're really looking hard, the theme just does not come through. So there you have it, folks. That is Pendulum. I think this game has gotten a lot of heat from a lot of people, and I think some of that is not deserved. I think the issues are I do not think that this game plays as well solo or even at two players, because at two players you always have these other meeples out there which are just messing with you and demanding that to use certain spaces you have to use your grande worker. And I just don't think that is the experience where this game will be its best. I think this game is at its best at 3, 4, or 5 players. And I think that the game I think it plays better if you're using the turn-based mode than it does with the timers. I just don't know that the timers really work as well as I want them to. Now, with all that said, I am not saying this is a bad game at all. I actually think there's a lot of very interesting things going on. And the game, even when you take the timers away, is doing stuff that is very interesting to me. I do think there is a core that is very interesting here. And I think if you are someone that loves worker placement games and really worker placement games are your jam, then maybe you want to take a look at this one because, like I said, it is doing some interesting things, especially if you're able to get a higher player count. So there you have it, folks. That is Pendulum from Stonemaier Games. This is a very interesting game. It has some very cool mechanics with it. And if I made any mistakes in the brief rules overview, please let me know in the comments with a timestamp. I'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.